I guess the first and most obvious question here is, what is a Keru Naguuru? Well, it means the exact same thing in English and Japanese. Absolutely nothing. According to Masanobu Endo, creator of this game and many of Namco's other classics, he derived the name from a character in the cartoon Sengoku Genie Go Shogun. Not that this game has anything in common with that cartoon. While I'm on that title, I need to point out that the official title is Keru Naguuru. It's common for people to add Tenkaichi Bushi to the front of it, which would mean something like Strongest Warrior Under the Sky. But that is just some text added to the game title screen. It's not considered part of the title. I have to jump ahead a bit in my usual presentation here, because Keru Naguuru is considered to be a very important game in Japan. One of the key forerunners of the fighting game genre and an inspiration for Street Fighter II. There's two primary game modes here. In the first, and simplest, players select characters from a list and then engage in a series of one-on-one martial arts bouts. In these combats, the A button attacks and the B button jumps. And there's a lot of context differences in what the A button does. It could punch, kick, elbow somebody, all depending on how far away you are. And there's also high attacks and low attacks. You don't choose whether or not you'll block, that's something that just occurs automatically if that character has the skill. And of course, not every character has every skill. Some of them won't be able to punch, for example. One of the characters that you can select for the fighting game is Password. And the way that you get passwords is by playing the training mode. And this is the real meat of the game. You set out from your house as a no-name martial artist with hardly any health and only able to punch, and your goal is to become the greatest warrior in the world. If you stick to the roads, you won't get into any fights, so you'll want to get off of those. And then you'll have random encounters with people, just like in an RPG. If you win a fight against certain people, then you get a small maximum health increase. What you'll want to do is just explore, find places that'll teach you new moves, and identify things that'll make your abilities even stronger. Your condition plays an enormous role in this mode. If it's blue, you're in good shape. If it's yellow, you take more damage and do less damage. And if it's red, you'll take a lot of extra damage and deal very little damage. There's not much you can do about your condition other than win fights. There aren't any real stats in the game, just maximum health and a few tiers of different abilities. So there isn't really a penalty for getting beaten up. If it happens while you're wandering the world, then you just get sent back to your house, where your mother gives you a bit of cash and your password. And money is handled a bit funny in this game. You have exactly one inventory spot, and money is an item. So you either have money, or you don't. And if you have money, you can visit a shop in town, and they'll give you an item. You can only sell that item to a guy if you need the money back. The items that you get are basically used to unlock additional things. For example, someone you meet in a house out in the wilderness might want to trade something for additional martial arts powers. The temples are where you go to learn whole new abilities, and each temple has 3 tiers of students that will fight you. So for example, at this temple, beating the first tier of students gets you the ability to jump, and beating the second tier gets you the ability to jump and kick. There is kind of a goal to reach an ending. There's 7 castles around the world, and if you beat up all of the people in those, then you'll win. However, there's also a secret ending. You have a friend near your house who you can practice with, and he'll tell you what martial arts level you are. If you raise that to maximum, and your health to maximum, by winning enough fights, then you unlock a secret super boss. As you're wandering the world, you need to keep an eye out for the major towns. They're important for 2 reasons. First, you can get a password there that will let you continue from that town. And second, they're the destinations that you can get to by horse. You can pay your money at any town to be instantly transported to any city that you visited. And if you don't have money, then you can engage in a martial arts bout with the stable boy, and if you win, then you'll get a horse. One weird trick on the overworld? Holding down B makes you run around. It's nice when you need to get to the far end of the map. The thing to remember, of course, is that all of this exploration and training and building up of a character is so that you can get a password and take it over to a friend's house and have your characters that you built up fight each other. That was a pretty big deal when this game was released, and probably explains why it is such a beloved classic in Japan. And you might have noticed this, but the combat really isn't that good. Without blocking or special moves, it really becomes all about spacing your characters out, getting that hit in and backing off. Another thing that can be a bit frustrating in training mode is that enemies level up as you do. So you might find that big boost and get excited to take on guys who were giving you trouble before, but they got the exact same boost that you did. And it can be kind of annoying when you get into a random fight and you're starting out weakened for no good reason. At least as you power up, that becomes less common. I think the big problem for Keru Naguuru is that time has passed it by. In 1991, Capcom figures out how to make fighting games good, and it's really hard to go back to these primitive steps before that. I still think Keru Naguuru is an interesting game though, but it's more historically interesting than something I'd want to play a lot.